All right, the electrical wiring is complete. Ignition underneath the tank is all done. All the mid-bike wires are all done. We've got a good ground going to here, and from there all over the bike as required. We have a 10 amp fuse built into the hot side of the battery. This cable right here goes down to the brake switch, which is broken. So these two wires operate the brake switch, and we'll get a new brake switch as quickly as possible and put that there. Let's show. Okay, up here the headlight's wired. We've got the switch already. So we're going to turn on the ignition. Okay, ignition's on. Light is off. Light is on pilot. And we go to first stop, that's low beam. Second stop, that's high beam. Okay, so everything's up there in the headlight. With the ignition on, we should have tail light back here. As soon as you go ahead to the low beam, and now go to high beam, and we still have tail light. Good. Now, do you have a jumper wire that you can show the brake light? Yeah, a lightweight was just fine. He's going to jumper the contacts on the brake switch and show you that we have a brake light. And there it is, nice brake light. Perfect. Okay, so the wiring's all done. Battery nicely secured. 10 amp fuse in place. We'll close that up. And here is a spare fuse right here in case it's ever needed. So we had good spark. We put it back together, but there was good ignition spark. And what we're going to do now is pull the carb off because the throttle's all tight and jammed. We're going to clean the carb and lube the whole throttle assembly. And then we'll put some oil in the tank and go from there. We might even do a first start today, who knows. Okay, we've got the carb off because the throttle assembly, throttle cable carb, kind of sticky, doesn't have a good snap. So we got the carb off. Kevin's disassembled the whole thing. It's all over here. We're going to clean all these parts. Clean the slide, clean the body, shine up the body with some S100. This is the old style float. They tend to crack and sink. So we'll get rid of that. We'll put in one of the new non-sinkable floats. The float needle is just fine. It's brass with the rubber tips, so that's reusable. We're going to clean all of that off of there, off of the jet needle. We're going to clean the jet body and put it back together. So it'll go back all spiffy clean and everything sliding very nicely, and we'll lubricate the heck out of the throttle cable until we get a good snap. And we'll show you when we get the good snap. Good snap is good. All right, a little follow-up on the carb. We've cleaned up all the individual parts and we're getting ready to put it back together. Kevin cleaned and lubricated the throttle cable. That's nice and free now. We are putting on a new gasket, a new float, a new filter assembly, and we're putting in a gasket that was missing from the original when we took it apart. And other than that, it's cleaning up the older parts and putting it back together. So that's our next step. Okay, we got the carburetor all put back together. Looks beautiful. Walk over here. We cleaned the carburetor. We cleaned the throttle cable. We cleaned the throttle assembly. And we have a good click. That's worth its weight in gold. That means when you roll off the throttle, you roll off the throttle. So, very good. But let's put some oil in the tank and kick it over a few times and see if we get some oil flow. Well, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. The electrical system is complete and everything works. The carburetor's been cleaned and put back together, and it works just fine. I put the muffler on. It looks just fine, got good clearance now. So the exhaust system's complete. We've got oil in the tank to about this level here, which is more than enough for our first start. We were all ready to do the first start when I discovered that my shop can of gasoline is empty. I've already used it all up. So I will get the gasoline refilled, and Kevin had to go home, and we will do the first start tomorrow and see how it goes. We checked the ignition initial timing, and it's set perfectly. So there's no reason in the world why the bike shouldn't go pop, 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 pop as soon as we kick it over. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Good snap. Love good snap. Headlight. Looking good. Got a new front fender. We'll put that on tomorrow. Oh, actually a fender brace. And that'll go up here. Front. Let's see, it goes front. And it mounts. Where does it mount? My goodness, it might mount under that bolt. I don't know. How interesting. Well, it's certainly big enough. And we've got 2 holes up there. Not sure I like that. I have to talk to the owner. I don't know, don't like it being up underneath of that main fork nut. We'll talk. May just have you make this hole here big enough to go around that nut. We'll talk. So anyway, progress is made. The bike is looking good, and probably do the first start tomorrow afternoon.